Joining this one in progress. Tom looks like he might be in a little bit of trouble. There's a Hornet Nest out there, Rattle Mystic, and Elvish Mystic. A couple of lands over there for Biron. On Tom's side, however, he has a Monastery Mentor, and we'll see if Biron has an answer to that card.
We've seen Tom board this in, I believe, every single post-board game we've watched. And what that means to me is Tom feels games in post-board, when things slow down, this card's just pretty generically powerful. Game one, his deck is all about his linear, straightforward strategy. Post-board, when things slow down, he just wants a high-impact card, and Monster Mentor definitely qualifies.
There's a land there for Tom. Deathmiss Raptor last turn there for Xavier. So Biron will draw. He's trying to gun up the ground. He's doing a nice job of it. Encase and Ice by Tom went on to Rattle Mystic. Perhaps he's hoping it was on that Hornet Nest instead, since he doesn't have any good attacks at this point. Here comes the Raptor. Looks like it's going to tie things up at 16. Now Tom does have a copy of Dromoka's Command in hand. Looks like he might be trying to find the right spot for it.
Yeah, there's no rush to do it right now. No great targets in play, and Xavier's likely to prove something that's really sweet to fight, though these Deathmiss Raptors with Death Touch are very annoying.
They are not it, that's for sure. Tom going to sacrifice his Windswept Teeth, get a land out of his deck. There's the Plains. Xavier has a very annoying board to try to get through. 2 Deathmiss Raptors and a Hornet Nest. Looks like Tom does have a copy of Defiant Strike that he may play here. And he will. He'll target Deathmiss Raptor. That means Tom will get a Monk token.
Just trying to trigger prowess here, not doing it on the Monster Mentor so he doesn't get blown out by a Wild Slash.
Another Defiant Strike. Let's do it again. Another Monk token. Draw a card. I believe it was a favorite hopline. Tom trying to build a board to work through all this stuff.
And these tokens he's generating, they potentially become attractive to use to fight with the Dromoka's Command. Because you don't worry about losing one of your tokens so much. You definitely don't want to trade your Monster Mentor, but it is a path.
It looks like Tom has 2 copies of Dromoka's Command in his hand right now, too. So he is looking to build up a heck of a turn at this point, or hoping that Biron makes some sort of mistake. These Deathmiss Raptors are certainly causing some trouble.
It's a very hard deck to play around. There's a lot of tricks that Tom has available to him, so there is some merit to just putting the ball at Xavier's court and saying, you have to act first.
Yep.
And then Tom can get the most out of his tricks, especially one as flexible as Dromoka's Command.
It does make you wonder if Tom boarded in a card like Treasure Cruise as well. This game has dragged out quite a bit.
Well, he has 1 in the main deck and 2 in the board, and often Tom is just bringing them in for the same reason he's bringing Monster Mentor. The games just get slower.
Oh, there's a Shoulder Shrug and an attack. I think we're going to see a little bit of blocking here from Tom finally. Dromoka's Command. So put a counter here and fight there. And what this allows Tom to do is really give a beating in this combat, because favorite Hoplite's trigger means the damage dealt to it, nothing.
So we get a heroic trigger here plus the 1 counter from Dromoka's Command. That makes this thing a 3/4 that doesn't take damage, which is very good for blocking a 3/3 Death Toucher and fighting another one.
You are correct about that. This is Draconic Roar. Gonna reveal a Stormbreath Dragon. And now we'll find out if Tom actually does have another copy of Dromoka's Command in hand, or another way just to trigger heroic.
Yeah, all he has to do is have something that targets the Hoplite. Does not have to be Dromoka's Command. Just anything to get that prevent all damage trigger once again.
And if he can do that, life is pretty good. He has another Dromoka's Command. He'll have to take 1 to cast this. Gets another Monk. Looks like he missed the first Monk on the first Dromoka's Command, too. So much going on.
Yep. It's been a bit of a weekend of missed triggers.
I was going to say
Tom.
the same thing. Some more
not the first one
than usual from Tom. There's a lot to keep track of here, of course.
But this has not been the sharpest we've seen the boss. That's
not
for
at
sure.
all. He's got to make sure he gets these heroic triggers and counters as well, too. He's going to take a look at Draconic Roar now. We can do the same.
Probably just curious if the 3 damage still happens regardless.
Yep. There's another counters.
It appears that this is still working out just fine.
I think. I think that Xavier is losing his entire board except for that Hornet Nest. So I still think he's doing just fine, even though it looks like Tom may have missed a token there. There's a Elvish Mystic, and Xavier has to pay 1 for. Pass the turn back. Tom's going to untap very quickly. Tom draws a spell right now. It's very, very good.
Keep in mind, he also knows about that Stormbreath Dragon, too.
Yep.
So he's got to turn it on a little bit. It's going to be a little hard to punch through the Hornet Nest, but Tom capable of generating a lot of damage here with all those monks.
So he wants to go about attacking. So the Hornet's Nest is certainly annoying, but the longer we go, it seems like the worse it gets for Tom. So I think he just says, I want to try to get this over with.
Well, he might try to do some kind of half-measure stuff there where he doesn't attack with his biggest thing right now. He only sends the small stuff. So if the nest triggers, then it's not for that many tokens. And that's why he's leaving the Hoplite back on defense. Because the Hoplite is just such an easy block for Xavier, makes a bunch of tokens, and that's problematic.
Here of Iroas pre-combat. And now here are the attacks. Tom trying to work his way through the nest. Such an annoyance that thing is.
Oh, yeah. Both in real life and in Magic.
True.
Just pretty annoying.
It'll block just a 1-power attacker, which means, well, we thought, oh boy, 4th Dromoka's command is pretty good.
This is to trigger prowess because he doesn't want to just ping the nest. He wants to actually get it off the table. This also allows him to pin down some mana here, which could prevent Xavier from casting a Stormbreath Dragon next turn.
Pretty healthy amount of damage going to get dealt here.
And it's a ton of damage.
Yeah.
It is a ton of damage.
Dromoka's command has looked great in Tom's deck.
Yes. Yes.
I know there have been some slip-ups and some missed triggers here for Tom, which is pretty uncharacteristic, but the deck building here is certainly good. This might be the way to go for Heroic moving forward.
Every time we see him cast Dromoka's command, we've said, okay, that's a lot happening right now.
And now he'll pass the turn back.
Now even with a Stormbreath Dragon, I think that even if Tom doesn't have a spell, we have lethal coming across here next turn.
I think so.
With a mana confluence, he's got to tap to cast the Stormbreath Dragon. I don't think Xavier can get out.
And the Dromoka commands on the turn with the Death Mist Raptors, those were huge.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier lost. Xavier had a removal spell to play in response and still lost everything.
Yeah.
And maybe that attack with the Raptors is a little ambitious in the face of a favorite Hoplite, but I guess the alternative is what? Xavier's just supposed to wait for forever? I don't know. It doesn't seem good either way.
Let's see if this is a spell or a creature. If it's a spell, it's probably lights out. Yeah, it's an Ordeal of Heliod. Yeah, that's a spell which triggers prowess on all those creatures. So that'll get you another monk. Everybody's coming in. That is going to do it. Tom Ross going to win this match here over Xavier Biron. 2-1. Bant Heroic will take care of Green Red Aggro. That means the boss moves on to 10-3 here with his brew.
Still alive with 2 rounds to go, and Dromoka's command has been so impressive so far. Every time we've seen Tom play in any sort of creature matchup, it feels like the board builds up and that card's a backbreaker, or it's just cast early on in the game as a removal spell and gets the ball rolling with one of his early heroic creatures. And either way, that's a great use of 2 mana.